tuned in to the Keetria Show and listening to SOB, Style of Business, the podcast with your host, Keetria. We aim to highlight the ongoing trek of entrepreneurs and business owners from around the globe, featuring stories that recount their struggles, experiences, and inevitable road to success and self-fulfillment. Welcome to SOB.
This podcast is being brought to you by my inspiring new book titled Courage is a Muscle, Using Heart to Power Your Entrepreneurial Dreams. You can grab your copy today on Amazon. Hey, what's up, y'all? Thanks for tuning in for another hot episode of SOB, Style of Business, the podcast. This is your host, Keetria, and today I have another hot episode featuring a very wonderful lyricist / recording artist, an entertainer, this is definitely going to be another great interview, and we are speaking to the wonderful UFO FEV, who is a East Harlem native out of New York, and he's going to be visiting with us, talking about the success of his new EP project and some of the wonderful things he's working on, things he has going, and we're going to be dabbling into just trying to stay sane and creative during this time of quarantine. So definitely excited to have him on, and hoping that whoever's listening, there'll be some gems shared and things like that will help you as we continue this day-to-day of isolation and the things that different people are experiencing. So we'll get a little bit more into that, but without further ado, just definitely want to give him a moment to drop that intro, and we will roll right forward from there. So what's up, UFO FEV? Thanks so much for visiting.
Yeah, woo!
Yeah. Here we go, East Harlem.
What's going on? Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me so much, man.
Yeah, and I appreciate you being on. I know you're busy. There's a lot of wonderful things that you have in the mix, so it's kind of hard to catch up, but I'm definitely appreciative of you taking the time to visit, and just want to give you a minute to give us a little introduction as to who you are, and we'll roll.
All right, what's up, man? It's the kid UFO FEV, the big UFO, some people call me that, and I'm Spanish Harlem Zone, the kid with the good hair, the Latino kid with the good hair, and I'm just here celebrating on SOB. I'm thankful to be here, man. It's a pleasure and an honor. I'm humbly grateful. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely, and we're definitely appreciative of you as well. And I also want to add into that, like, definitely shout out and thanks to Richard Dean Barty of Grunge Cake, who was able to set this up and to get you on the line. I mean, when she shared, that was a few weeks ago, she shared, I believe you were featured, I think it was DJ, oh my gosh, how did I forget that quick? We were just talking about the DJ Envy had shared one of the tracks that you did. And I was like, when she showed it to me, I was like, man, yeah, this is some lyrical content. There's a difference between being a rapper and a lyricist. And so I was definitely impressed by what I saw. And I was like, yeah, please see if you can get him on. And then aside from that, I mean, just the humbleness of your character and, with everything that you have popping as far as, the EP is taking off and the single and things, it's just good to kind of see people down to earth and still able to talk and discuss how they got to where they are. So we appreciate it.
Thank you, Key. Man, I appreciate it. I'm super grateful for Richard Dean. She's one of the best people I've met in my life. So, I'm thankful for her, and all praise due to Richard Dean and the good folks above that keep us moving, for real.
Definitely. I agree with you there. All right, so let's talk a bit about you. Okay, so you, I mean, obviously there's some things that are moving and grooving in your world. I mean, you just don't have that type of talent, overnight. So tell us a little bit about how you got started.
Oh, wow. Well, as a young, I've been writing, not just songs but I was always in school. I was always into language arts, social studies, writing. I got introduced to poetry somewhere in middle school or elementary, and I started drawing towards poetry, and just growing up in the projects, hip hop was always prevalent, always in my life. I was born in the 80s, so I grew up with hip hop, and I couldn't escape it coming from where I'm from. So the poems, somewhere down the line, transformed into raps. I can't really tell you when, I don't remember, but it was many moons ago.
And,
then in the mid 2000s, the whole blog and the whole underground culture was booming. Mixtapes, you got G Unit, Dipset, a lot of different MCs keeping the culture alive, and I started taking myself serious in 2010, I left my job. I had a well-paying job with the insurance company HIP. You know, I thought that was going to be the rest of my life, you know, a working class citizen. But I know it came a specific day where I was faced with a decision to, you know, take myself seriously or just not. And I decided to take the chance. I left my job on a whim, and I was in the streets, and I just stood in the streets all the time and just doing what I could do, enough to just, you know, pay for studio time, pay my bills, and, you know, buy some clothes, and then back in the studio, pay some bills, buy some clothes. So it was like, that's what I was really hustling for. And somewhere along the line, somewhere around 2016, 2014, 2015, 2016, those 3 years I was dropping music, and that's when I got recognized. The first person to recognize me was Puff, you know, Sean Diddy Combs. He was the first person that recognized me. He called my phone, and you know, he just was giving me his blessing, you know, telling me that he thought I was gonna be one of the great ones, and when people get a hold of me, they're not gonna know what to do. Keep that hunger, keep writing the way I'm writing. You know, he was on the phone just going off, and I was so taken aback by the phone call that I was in Queens going to Jamaica Avenue to get some beef patties, you know, for the family and stuff. And he called, and it was just like, I don't know. After that, I was in depression at that time. You know, I was in my latter years of my 20s, so I was going through. I think most males go through it. They just don't know how to identify it. I was going through a depression, and it wasn't because of what was going on, but more so of like, you know, when will things happen kind of thing, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
What am I going to do if things don't work out? I just had a daughter, so I was, you know, I wanted to get married. I was trying to build my life up, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen, you know. So when Puff called, and I had lost a very important person, my uncle, like, had passed away that summer. So when Puff called, it was kind of like, now in hindsight, I know it was the Lord disguised as Puff. You know what I'm saying? Like, he used a vessel like Puff to give me the confidence to keep moving, but it was really him telling me that, you know, stay focused and keep going, because I was really down on myself. I had a lot of friends that were in the streets that were being successful, you know, material-wise, cars, all these other things, and, you know, I wasn't having that because I was spending all my money on the studio and videos and, you know, keeping my dream going. So I was reaching a point where I was like, you know, how much longer can I do this and live, you know, subjectively, you know what I'm saying? So when Puff called, it just gave me a little glimmer of hope, and it made me more hungry, which put me into another depression, because then after that, you know, what do? You know what I'm saying? After
That's pressure.
The pressure of also just feeling like, because I break myself apart all the time, you know what I'm saying? Like an alchemist, I try to break myself down to the most purest form and try to ask myself questions that I can come up with answers for. You know, like, if people ask you, what do you want? You know, most people would tell you to take care of their family, but you could take care of your family working at the post office. You know what I'm saying? You could take care of your family with a well-paying job. You get into a union and you could take care of your family. So you obviously want something outside of taking care of your family, you know what I'm saying? To be the reason you're doing the things you do. So me being a artist and an MC and just considering, why am I doing music? What do I want?
Right.
And you know, when I broke myself down, it was to be one of the greats, to be the greatest, you know what I'm saying? One of the great ones that people, because when I was coming up, it was, you know, I'm Latino, I'm Puerto Rican, so it would be like, oh, he's good for a Puerto Rican kid, you know what I'm saying? Like, it would be a lot of labels
extra going
or,
into
you know, do I rap in Spanish? You know, do I speak Spanish? Can I do reggae? It was like nobody really cared that I was rhyming, so I was like, you know, I around that time, like, what do you want? You know what I'm saying? And I just decided that I wanted to be nice. I just wanted to be super nice. And have nobody be able to doubt me. So I put my best foot forward, and from there, speed up to like maybe I met, were we in 2020? I met Joe at the ending of 2016. It was like November, December, and I had dropped a record called Mr. Nice Guy, and that record was getting, it was getting picked up by a lot of blogs and internet tastemakers were posting it on their page and stuff, and I don't know, somehow, by the grace of the Lord, Dre from Cool and Dre managed to see it, and the rest is history. I got a call from a friend from my neighborhood. Dre knew somebody that knew me, I guess in my neighborhood. He figured out where I was from. He had a connect there. He called, must have asked if they know me. They called me, like, yo, Fev, I don't know what you did, but, they looking for you. So Dre called me back right after that, right after I okayed him to pass my number along. Dre called, and he told me he had sent my music to Crack, and that Crack wanted to meet me. Like just like that. Like as soon as he called, he was like, "Yo, what's up, Playboy? What's good? What you all right, man? Yo, I heard your stuff, man. You dope. I played it for Crack. He want to meet you. What you doing tomorrow?" And I was, the rest is history. I went up to meet Joe, and that's pretty much. I've been doing my thing ever since, and standing next to Joe, learning the game. He's been a consigliere. He's like my patriarch in the music industry. He's my mentor. He's my big brother, and he's just been helping me and showing me things as an independent artist, because Joe's still fully independent. So, I see all Joe's success. We know him for the hit records, Lean Back, All the Way Up, all these things, and he's done that independent. So, there's no better place for me to learn from and keep my thing gold, keep going the way I'm going and keep looking for gold, and then, learn. And here we are today. I'm on the phone with Key, doing the Style of Business podcast, and people know I just dropped the EP with Static Selector titled Fresh Air.
Oh yeah, that's hot.
30 minutes, 30 minutes of your day, some good music, something hopefully, boost your vibe, radiate some great energy through the frequencies in your ear, and let's keep it pushing, man. That's all I'm here for.
Yeah, well, you're definitely doing that, and I really love the fact that you just mentioned the story with Fat Joe, and then also with Diddy. Just having those people just kind of come into your life and your career and motivate and encourage, because sometimes, a lot of times you don't hear that type of story. A lot of artists don't really get that opportunity, but it seems like just for you putting out so much music, that really put you in a position to win. And what I really like is the fact that you were talking about how, you being Latino, and, it's like, oh, he's good for a Puerto Rican. Like there's always that one thing, and it reminds me of, when Eminem first came out, it was always like, oh, he's a good rapper for a white guy or whatever. And a
white boy. Yeah,
it always had to be that tag. But I'm like, if you're good, you're good. At
the end of the day, it's a double-edged sword. We do live in America, it functions on labels, on most people are, the word racist has such a bad connotation to it, but some people are subconsciously racist because they grew up around nothing but their people,
Right.
So it's not always spewed through a hatred sense. Sometimes you just got to educate yourself. I grew up in a housing project. It was predominantly black and Latino, black and Latino. And the only time I seen a Chinese person was at the they made the food. We would go to the Chinese restaurant. If I seen a person from Yemen or the Middle East, they were running the store, you know what I'm saying? So you don't really get to experience you don't take these things serious as when you in it, as a youth growing up, and then as you grow wiser, you travel or you just become more mature, you appreciate these little things. And I was blessed. My dad always was he was a stern man. He always pushed education, and he always tried to put me in the best schools outside of my neighborhood. So I was blessed to be able to be in school with the white kids and, in elementary. My dad was putting me in downtown schools and stuff like that. So I was going to school with the Asian kids, the white kids, where most of my friends were going to the school that was on our block.
Yeah.
So it'd be the same kids that we in school with that they come outside to hang with, you know what I'm saying? Or kids from other projects. So I grew up a little different, and getting that experience of being with my people and then having to go to school downtown and be subjugated to acting different, carrying myself in a manner, in a more tight manner, to say, it just gave me that dual citizenship to where I always knew that I had to do something to get up out of where I was. Like, we wasn't supposed to be living how we were living. I understood that early. Like, damn, it's kind of messed up where we at, so
yeah,
that's what always motivated me. And I'm a person who's emotional, I'm a Virgo. I might get it from my mom, like Prince said, just like my mother. You know what I'm saying? I get into and I'm not emotional outwards, it's all inward. It's internal, so I deal with a lot of like having to build myself up, having to carry that weight because unfortunately and fortunately, I really never had support system. It was always like, go find it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
do it yourself.
Find inspiration. Yeah, do it yourself. And, because the older guys on my block were trying to give me drugs. I was always smart. I was always outside. My family is, they've been in the street a long time. So everybody always knew me and always respected me. So they were always trying, the older guys, when I was outside, wanted me to hustle. You know what I'm saying? Like, why you ain't getting money? You know what I mean?
Right.
You could be getting a lot of money kind of thing, And I was always like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
And I always knew that wasn't, I could, they were trying to own me.
Yeah, that's. I'll tell you what, and not to cut off your thought, but I want to add this because I don't want to forget to mention it. Like how difficult for someone that's in that type of environment, especially in East Harlem. You have aspirations of being an artist, but at the same time, you have the older guys that are trying to get you into, doing the drugs and, all types of gang activity and things like that. Like, how difficult is it for you to pull away from that type of scene, or is it something that you're constantly faced with as a youth? I
mean, yeah, you constantly faced with it. So for me, I just chose to go with the ones that I wanted to be like. You know what I'm saying? Like, the ones, I just chose to be around the older hustlers that have the same morals and principles that I felt. Like, if I seen a dude sleeping with another dude's sister, I morally felt that was wrong. So I hung out with the dudes who felt that was wrong too. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't move like that. Or if I seen dudes stealing, like, I just tried to steer myself to more of the men. And like I said, my like, it ended up being my uncles. Like, as you never really know what's in the house. You know what I'm saying? So as I became a teenager and my uncles they recognized me and them. They knew what I was up to. You know what I'm saying? They, everybody knew me. In school, I was popular. It was like, I was never an introvert. I was always like funny in class, so cool, new sneakers. I was in the streets young, so.
Yeah.
Or my mom's was in the streets as well, so she would try to, she would send me to school with the Jordans,
right.
And stuff like that. So it was always like just trying to, like you said, lost my train of thought real quick, but like, and I know we don't got too much time, so I don't want to get too deep, kid.
No, hey, we can always have you back. I tell you what, I mean, I'm just kind of impressed by you. You do what you do. You do what you do. You don't make any apologies for it. On the EP, I think you have, is it close to 10 tracks? I know
Yes, ma'am, it's exactly 10.
Oh man, okay. So there's a lot. I'm trying to pack everything in, but I know we might not get to it. But before we start talking about, because I want to talk about like nightclubs and some of the hot singles that you have. But like before we jump into that, like give me an idea of what it's like right now. Well, before the quarantine and things like that came about, because I've been kind of watching the freestyle, like the cypher scene. Like I know that's still hot, in like the inner cities of New York and things like that. And I know you have experience with those and participating. So like, give us like the setting, like what is that like the actual scene of somebody participating in a cypher? Like, how do you tell who's like one of the hotter MCs and, who's a newbie? Like, how do you really go in and dominate something like that?
First of all, you got to be considered elite. They got to rock with you. And my experience, I did everything from Flex to Shade 4-5. And before the quarantine, I was on the road with Joe. I was opening up as well as being his hype man for him, holding the shows down with him. And we so far, just in 2020, we hit Dubai. I was in the Bahamas. I was in Indiana, Detroit. We did Miami. We was just doing a bunch of dates, and I was getting that. It was that part of my journey of experiencing the road, with a big act. So it's like Joe's doing like stadiums and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And we're coming out, and it's like a surreal feeling. So before the quarantine, things were moving, and the ciphers, it's ill because everybody takes it differently. Some people might hear your rhyme and be like, yo, you killed that. Some people might be like, yo, you got to go up to here next and body that. So it's all, it's like a continuous flow. There's always a new opportunity, especially if you're a writer or MC and you want to rap. There's always an opportunity for you to go in and kick some bars somewhere. And I think that's a beautiful thing. That's what makes New York City, different from everyone else, from what I've seen, because a lot of places haven't really incorporated that in their culture. Exactly.
Yeah, no, I tell you what, I mean, yeah, you guys definitely bring out the best when it comes to like the freestyles and the ciphers. And it's definitely something to appreciate about that music culture specifically. And speaking of music, let's talk a little bit about, okay, so you got a couple of things going. I know like Apple Music, the New York playlist specifically, there's a couple of your tracks, or at least one that I know of that has been picked up there. You got a lot of different blogs and influencers that are reposting and tweeting and sharing your tunes. And then you got this hot single, I like Fresh Air too. So Fresh Air is really one of the hotter tracks that I really like. And you have Static Selector, which is a renowned producer that's all over the EP as well. But I want to talk specifically about nightclubs. Nightclubs like that. The lyrics, the production part. Of course we like what we hear on the beat end. But give us like what inspired you to actually go with that particular beat and the actual content behind that song.
Well, the song developed, again, I got to be all praise due to the man above and having a brother like Fat Joe on my side. He's, he's the ear. He knew he had that record. He had the beat.
Yeah.
Street Runner produced the beat. So, Joe had the beat, and we have been recording stuff, working on stuff. And Joe was like, yo, I think you would kill this. I think this would be good for you. Because we always having we've had meetings with labels and, Joe's seen how they treat, how they act to my music. And Joe's been witness to me putting out music and getting well recepted. And Joe got this thing. He thinks I got money. He's like, yo, you be paying people because when he's outside, people come up to him and be like, yo, what's up with UFO FEV? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
right.
So he be like, yo, man, I'll be in Chattanooga, and there's always one person that's like, yo, where's FEV? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
And he's like, yo, man, you got people across this. And I've seen it for myself because, quick story, one time we hopped out the car uptown in Manhattan, and he jumped out the car first, and there was a gentleman crossing the street, like, coming onto the sidewalk, and he double looked. He saw Joe, and he was like, "Oh shit, Fat Joe!" And like as he went to get his phone ready, look for his phone to take his phone out.
Yeah.
I walked, like I came around the other side of the vehicle, and I walked closer to him. Joe came around the front, and I walked around the back of the vehicle, so I was closer to him. He picked his head up, and he was like, "Oh shit, UFO FEV!" Like
made his day, right?
He was like, yeah, he was like, "Yo, I need a picture with you, boy." I was like, and I took a picture. He was like, "Yo, I ain't gonna lie, a picture with crack is legendary, but this is it right here." Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? This is the future. Like, so, Joe seen that, and he like, "Yo, man, you gotta stop." You know what I'm saying? Like, so, it's been, the back to the point was the record came with Joe telling me, we always trying to find a balance for me staying what I like to do, but finding a record that could penetrate, mainstream or pop culture. So he played the beat, and after that it was like, Shine is one of my favorites. His first album to me is considered a classic.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It came at a time when Puff and them was on fire, Big had passed, so it was like for me it was like Bad Boy I grew up with. There was early Bad Boy.
Right.
And then there was our Bad Boy, like, you know what I'm saying? And so when I heard the record, I was like, oh my goodness. And I'm a big dancehall fan, so I knew the Barrington Lee.
That was perfect, right? I love it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Like I know about that stuff already. So when the hook came to be, it was originally a male on. I'm giving you the exclusive. It was originally a male on it, and Joe and I were sitting in his store one day, and I was like, "Yo, crack, I think we should get a female on this, like, because the male wasn't, it was too machismo. It was too."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Yo, we should get a female, man." And he was like, "Who you thinking?" There was an artist who had some stuff out, a dancehall artist. She had a song out. We reached out to her. She was busy for what it's worth, and we might have reached out to one more that was busy, and then we had reached out to Spice as well, but we were waiting, and Joe's like, you got to get it done. So Joe starts, doing what he does, and Spice replied. Spice ended up being co-managed by Mike Tyson's sister.
Oh, wow. So
when Joe figured that out, him and Mike Tyson and their family have their own relationship. They go back for, that's something they could be able to speak about. But, when he was like, "Yo, give me in touch." He told me, like, "Yo, get me in touch with Mike Tyson's sister, and we get that girl on the record."
Yes.
And that's pretty much how me and Joe work. Like, if I want something.
Right. Right, you know where to go.
Yeah, and I'd be like, "Yo, crack, I was thinking of doing this," and he'll be like, "Yo, find me how to get in touch with that person, and I'll make it happen." You know what I'm saying?
Love it.
And he's like that with beats. He'll call me and be like, "Yo, I need some beats," figure out how to get in touch with this person, and so stuff like that. So when Spice pulled up to the studio with Mike Tyson's sister and her whole staff, and they heard the vocals, they heard my verse. And they just love. I was really nervous because I never met Spice, and I knew she was big stuff already. So when she came in, and it was my first time working with a major artist that's like, I worked with Joe and Ken Jones, but like it was like Spice. You know what I'm saying? Like a female. It's a whole different dynamic. I'm a Virgo, man. So like the divine, it's like I know. So when she walked in, I was like, oh. So when I played the stuff, they were super taken back, and she was like, "No problem, I got you." And she jumped on, she changed the words around. Yeah, she changed the words, and she made it hers, and nightclubs, that's what we got.
Nightclubs, Spice, case closed. Definitely shout out to Spice, your whole team, actually, Fat Joe and everybody else that supports you, because they are definitely investing into the future. Like I said, I can't tell you how many times I just kind of listened to the material, and I was just sharing it with Richard Dean, like, hey, this guy, this is one of the ones that we could keep. There's so many people that are
thank you
putting
so
out
much.
material, but when somebody is here for the long haul. So we definitely appreciate the work that you put into actually creating the good music. And before we wrap up,
thank you so much.
Phoebe, no problem. I know we extended it a little bit longer than what we initially were going for, but during this time, I think it's important for people to have like different jewels and maybe some little tools to kind of help people along. So you as an artist, especially with maybe there's probably some indies that are listening or some aspiring artists, like what are some of the things that you're doing to kind of keep yourself, on a steady pace, during quarantine as somebody who's always performing or out and about in the city? What are some of the things that you're doing to make sure that you are staying creative and keeping your mind state in good health?
Again, thank you for having me. So, what I would say is a lot of exercise, a lot of prayers. This is a time to be with your family. So if you're not being creative, don't be hard on yourself. The first few weeks I was being hard on myself, learning to deal with my family together all at once for the days and not being able to write and do the things I wanted to do. But, at the end of the day, everything that's written is already going to be what it's going to be. It's up to Allah. So you have no choice. You have to be positive. You have to be patient. Read a book. Also, I would say to artists, most importantly, try to figure out what else you're good at to help you and try to work on that so you could generate another revenue stream. So you might be good at podcasting or YouTube content. If you could cook, create some YouTube content, but try to find some other avenues of stuff you're good at and, try to generate on that, and you'll come out this stronger, because it looks like it's going to be different. You know what I'm saying? The world is going to be different. So it's not going to be what it was. So I'm super thankful myself. I just came off the road from seeing the globe, and it happened in 3 months, and then we got shut down. So I couldn't be more thankful, and we had more dates. So I was, I had to sit down. You know what I'm saying? I was getting used to jumping on planes every weekend.
Yeah.
So most importantly, just take care of your family, love them, stay out of the streets, stay patient. The world is not social media. You could close the app, go outside, and some of the people outside don't even know these people you subconsciously competing with on social media. So don't even base your life around that, and try to stay positive. Pray, man. That's the most important thing.
Love it. Definitely pray. All right, sounds good. UFO FEV, let us know where we can find you online if anybody wants to connect or just to follow you and the things that you have. And also, where can we grab Fresh Air, the EP?
Yeah. It's the big UFO. You can find me everywhere at UFO FEV. I'm the one and only. It's the Puerto Rican kid with good hair. Fresh Air is out right now on all streaming services, wherever. PlayStation Store, Xbox Store, YouTube, whatever you got, man. It's on Bandcamp, it's on Audio Mac, it's on SoundCloud. There's no excuse for you to not say you ain't search for it and then find it. It's also on my social medias, which you can follow me at UFO FEV. Thank you for having me, and it's been an honor. I'm so grateful, for real.
Appreciate it, Phoebe. You take care. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, be careful out there.
Thanks for hanging out with us here on SOB. We hope this episode has been resourceful. If you'd like to check out the latest articles or follow Keetria's website updates, just log on to Keetria.com or follow her on Twitter at KEETRIA.